The thing she was most afraid that I would do to her, she did to me. Part 3. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss another cheating story goes live. She said she has moved on and found her happiness in life. She told me that even though it hurts me, she wants me to know she's happy now. She asked me to stop sending her letters and reaching out to her. She told me to move on. She blocked my phone number and that's the last contact I had with her. If she was unhappy, she should have respected and loved me enough to sit down and talk to me. If she was truly that unhappy and didn't want to work on the relationship, then at least do me the courtesy of telling me to my face and break up with me. She didn't have to cheat on me. She didn't have to absolutely destroy me. I feel like she is living in a fairy tale with this Camp Wilderness guy. She moved into her own apartment and is now seeing this guy. Again, he can't provide for her and I really hope she doesn't end up with him. I care for her so deeply and love her more than anything in this world. I want her to have a happy life, I just wish it could have been with me. My friends and family always told me she took me for granted. No matter how much I did for her, how much I tried to communicate with her and make compromises to make her happy, she would just never be satisfied. My mother and sister told me she is selfish and immature and doesn't deserve me. But that doesn't stop me from loving her. I hope one day she realizes that she made a huge mistake. She would have had a great life with me and I would have provided everything she wanted in life. Now I don't know if I will ever hear from her again. I miss her terribly. I miss kissing her goodnight. I miss cuddling with her. I miss waking up next to her. I miss going to dinner with her and trying new restaurants. I miss talking to her and sharing exciting news with her. I miss our date nights and going on trips with her. My heart hurts constantly. She wasn't just my partner, she was my best friend. I go back and forth between crying and missing her to being angry and hating her for cheating on me. I have that image burned into my mind of them together at the theme park and them sleeping together camping out. I'm still in disbelief that she could do this to me after all these years and after all the plans for the future we made together. I keep thinking that the girl I knew could never do this to me. When we started dating, she was being used by all these guys in college. When we started dating, she told me how she got cheated on in high school by a guy she went to this very camp with. She told me it hurt so badly and that it was her worst nightmare. She made me promise that I would never cheat on her. I told her that I am not that kind of person and that I could never do that to her, that the guilt would eat me alive. I just find it ironic that after almost 7 years together she could turn around and do this to me. The very thing she was most afraid I would do to her. And for her to lie about it, hide it, and then deny that it was cheating. It kills me. I know my story isn't as bad as some others out there. I have read about way worse situations. Lucky you didn't buy the ring, be glad you didn't marry her or buy the house or have kids yet, people say. It still hurts. It still feels like the end of the world for me. People tell me that I'm only 26 and that it was my first relationship and that I am still young and I will find someone. I hope I find someone else. But I am afraid I won't find someone who I will love as deeply or as passionately as my ex. She was my entire world. I lost tons of sleep and almost 20 pounds over this. I have frequent panic attacks and find myself crying at home and in public. I try to keep busy, try new things, new hobbies and meet new people. I have been making better food choices and going to the gym often. Update end. Here are some of the best comments from our community. You know how many women there are in the world? 3.8 billion. She isn't the only slightly overweight college graduate / a degree in nursing. Hell, those are a dime a dozen on the East Coast. I am sorry you are hurting, but it honestly sounds like this relationship ran its course, and just ended badly, like a lot do. I get the impression that your GF had checked out a while ago, and everything you did in the last stages made it pretty easy to view you as the crazy ex. Honestly, you will feel better in time, but it is best to try and view this as a learning experience. Trust me, there are a lot of things you can learn from here. Here is the second story. We went through all the thick and thins, but she still managed to betray me. So I am going to be as transparent as possible because that is the only way I can actually get some great advice. Okay, so my wife and I got together when I was down on my luck to say the least. She was younger and had a lot to learn when it came to being in a relationship. I was fresh out of a marriage that didn't last long and was ended by my own infidelity. Before I go any further, the whole thing about once a cheater always a cheater BS is exactly that. I saw how badly I hurt my first wife and I promised myself I would never put someone through that again. To this day, I have never cheated on my current wife. Okay, well anyways, we dated for like a year then got married when we were basically homeless. I ended up getting in some trouble right after we found out she was pregnant with our first of 3 children. So I am in jail and she stayed by my side. Did everything a wife should do when her husband is behind bars. Well, once I get out and our daughter is born, I know that it is time to grow up and leave all that mess in my past. I get an awesome job that pays very well on a national scale and even better BC. I live in Louisiana so everything is much cheaper. So we're starting to live a pretty normal American dream life. Or so I thought. We closed on our first house in March of 2017 and things couldn't be any better. Yes, we had our fights and sometimes they got out of hand because we are both stubborn but never any violence and we always had the feeling it was us against the world. So by this time we have welcomed 2 other children into our lives and I'm working a full-time job with considerable amounts of overtime and she is at home with 3 toddlers constantly. Money starts to get a little tight and I ask if she wouldn't mind working at the corner store right by our house. She starts working there and her boss starts flirting with her and she tells me but it really didn't bother me because I trusted her. Well, somewhere between then and now we sort of faded into a routine and didn't exactly appreciate everything each other was doing and turned our home into a tiny battlefield. Well, one day she was cleaning her boss's house. It was a side job that he offered and he paid well, so why not? Well, they ended up sleeping together. Then a few weeks later they did it again. I was somewhat suspicious so I started snooping and came across some questionable things so I confronted her about it. She denied it at first, but then I told her that no matter what the outcome is, you are the worst kind of evil if you can cheat and lie to the person you supposedly love and not blink an eye. I told her that I owned up to my mistake in my first marriage and even though it ended, I respected her enough to not hide it from her. She eventually broke down and told me that she was already in the process of telling me because a few days earlier she rode by his house to warn him that she was going to tell me, and that part has been verified so I know it's true. She has since quit her job, stopped all communication with him, and is trying her hardest to gain my trust back. This happened 6 weeks ago. So is there any way this can actually work out? My major barrier right now is, it used to be that no matter what, I knew she was mine and I was hers. We loved each other from homelessness to homeowners but now it seems like it was all done in vain. Here are some of the best comments from our community. I disagree with others. I'm glad that you chose to change after realizing how it hurt your first wife. You didn't deserve to be cheated on. People are extremely harsh wishing that on anyone. I'm sorry you're hurting. If you love her and you both want to make this relationship work, you have to go to a therapist and get help right away. I think both of you going through many things like homelessness, jail, children, and infidelity. I think that you need to set some boundaries and make sure that both of you follow them. I know that it sucks but it seems like she is remorseful and she wants you. She did something stupid and she regrets it. Both of you have gone through a lot and you both went through it strong. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.